All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Zoe Jick. I'm Associate Director of Jewish Content here at Austrian Family JCC, and I am quite honored to present the Maccabeats. This session is called Meet the Maccabeats, so I thought it would be appropriate if we asked you to introduce yourselves.
I don't know if this is working. Okay, originally from Muncie, New York. I now live in Los Angeles.
I'm Josh J. Grew up in New Jersey, now living in Brooklyn.
My name is Nachum Joel. I live in the Bronx, originally from Silver Spring, Maryland. That's all you get.
My name is Noe Jacobson. I'm originally from Houston, Texas, and I also live in Los Angeles.
My name is Chanina Abramowitz. I live in Brooklyn, New York, and born and raised.
I'm Eris Cohen from Brooklyn, and now living on the Upper West Side in Manhattan.
Corey Hecht from Plainview, New York, still in Plainview, New York.
And I would just add, because we get asked this all the time, I'm not sure if someone was going to ask this question, but there are actually 12 Maccabeats altogether. We travel in groups of 6 or 7. So the other half of our group is in Baltimore today doing a show, but I assure you, you got the A team. That's it.
And they got the other A team. That's how that works.
Thank you guys all so much for traveling to be with us in Palo Alto today. One thing that you might have noticed when they introduce themselves is you all live in different places. How does that work? So can you guys tell us a little bit about what the Maccabeats is, how you guys became a group, why you guys wanted to be part of the group, and sort of how the day-to-day functioning of the Maccabeats happens?
So the Maccabeats, what the Maccabeats is a Jewish a cappella group. We started when we were all undergrads together at Yeshiva University. And what happened was a bunch of us kind of got together and realized, there are all these great college a cappella groups all over the country. And here we are at YU, which is, kind of the flagship modern Orthodox university, and we don't have an a cappella group of our own. So we wanted to, get that started. So the Maccabeats actually started as a student club at YU. And the first year that we formed, that was way back in 2007, we were just a group of college students who sang for ourselves. We didn't really perform publicly at all. And as time went on, we kind of branched out a little more. Eventually, we decided it would be fun to start making some videos, and around 2010, we came out with our candlelight video for Hanukkah, and very unexpectedly to us, it kind of went viral, got a lot of press, and at that point, we realized that we could reach a much wider audience than we had anticipated at the outset. And it was at that point that we started kind of traveling around, doing concerts, and we realized that we had an opportunity, maybe even a responsibility, to try to reach people with, educational or positive messages, teach people about, at that Jewish holidays and, ideas of people getting along in harmony. And at this point, we've all long since graduated college, but it's something that we've kind of brought with us and continue to do. That's one of the biggest questions we also get is, are you all still at YU? Is the Maccabeats a YU group? We still have, strong ties to the university, but none of us are actually still students there. In our wake, other student a cappella groups have popped up at YU, but this is something that we've kind of taken with us and done, for many years now.
Thank you. That is a very helpful explanation, but we all know that a picture's worth 1,000 words. So would you guys maybe want to show us a little something about what you do?
Yes. Can we stand? All right.
So we're going to sing for you. Any fans of musical theater in the audience? Great.
One.
So we love musical theater, and we've done a Les Mis medley, and we dabble in Broadway. But this next song is from a show that we actually couldn't afford to see, so we did it ourselves, Hamilton. When you can't beat them. So, but the funny story here is that we actually had an amazing opportunity to perform this song on the original Broadway stage and it was an experience of a lifetime until we were escorted off by the NYPD. We're not going to use our mics. Hadassah had me, son of a priest and a he, raised in a village with his 4 brothers, penetrating in prophets, full by pompous and Sidicus, under pressure, grow up to be a hero and commander. When the king come around, we say, this decree's insane, man. Walking out himself, I lost my living in our own land. Fight back like your father, don't forget from my decay. And we'll call you by a brand new name. What's your name, son? Call him Judah Maccabee. Call him Judah Maccabee. The hammer whose aim is true. And we're ready to show the king. We don't know a single thing. The world will never be the same. You'll be great, soon you'll see. We will praise just the same. You got no need to fight. Our heaven is uncertain, right? You won't miss your Shabbat or circumcision for your time. And if you don't comply, I will send my great Seleucid army and tell it to be goodbye. We are not gonna betray our God. We are not gonna betray our God. Oh no, we don't need permission to keep our great traditions, and we're not gonna betray our God. This is Abraham and Mom Sarah, and I've never got a statue of Hera. I think the most passed book that is good is not great. Just got an effigy of stone or words. 2,000 years of wild words. Teaching and learning, keep on being the yearning. We wanna keep the Sabbath in the days that are holy, and can we uphold God's temple? Ceremony. We're past patiently waiting, we're passionately past invasion, and taking action on the dedication. Don't story after that shit, shadow, and then we're gonna fight for tomorrow. And we are not gonna betray our God. We are not gonna betray our God. Although we don't need permission to keep our great tradition, we're not gonna betray our God. And we are not gonna betray our God. We are not gonna betray our God. Yeah, betray our God, betray our God, betray our God, betray our God, betray our God. Betray our, not gonna betray our God.
Shkoyach, that's awesome. That was great. Awesome. Well, I'm sure that we all would enjoy if you did that for the next 45 minutes. But not only are we all big fans of the Maccabeats, and not only did the Maccabeats, as you explained, sort of claim to fame happen in this time of year, but also this is obviously the Zionism 3.0 conference, and we actually commissioned, the Oshman family JCC commissioned a song from the Maccabeats last Yom HaAtzmaut, which is Israel Independence Day, and we asked them to write and create a music video for us in honor of Yom HaAtzmaut, and so we're gonna show a little bit of that video now, and then talk a little bit about that, if that's okay with you guys. So we'll just show a short clip. A little taste.
על הקמת מדינה יהודית בארץ ישראל. היא מדינת ישראל.
בארץ ישראל קם העם היהודי נגינים הפריחו נשמות החיו שפתם העברית בנו כפרים וערים והקימו יישוב גדל על אף כל קושי מניעה וסכנה הם לא פסקו לתבוע את זכותם בחיי כבוד חירות ועמל ישרים במולדת לפיכך נתכנסנו. It's basically downhill from there, so you got the good part.
Don't worry, I
Went off
promise
the
you
rails.
the rest of the song. Okay, so you guys got a taste of the song, a little bit of a sense of its tune and its imagery, and so I was hoping that maybe you guys could just explain a little bit about the artistic process that you went through in creating this video for us. Why did you choose this melody? Why did you choose these images? What were you trying to convey?
So we were doing a show nearby in San Francisco, and this was about a year or so ago. And afterwards, we were accosted by an Israeli woman by the name of Tal, and she said to us, "I have an idea. You got to do a song to the words of Megillat Ha'atzmaut, the Israeli Declaration of Independence."
And I said, "What is that?" I had no idea what that was.
Is that true? Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah, so and that's kind of an interesting thing. You know, we weren't really familiar. I think some of us, unlike Nachum, had a vague sense that there was an Israeli Declaration of Independence, but we were not familiar with that document and with what it was really about. And so we kind of, you know, we get people come up to us after shows all the time with the next great musical idea, and we said, okay, that's nice. But we went home and we started looking at this Declaration of Independence, at this document from the State of Israel, and we're just totally blown away by how beautiful it was, and then by how aspirational it was, how complex it was, how interesting it was, and we kind of fell in love with the idea of doing that, and that was sort of how this song came about. And we commissioned a composer to create an original tune, which is not what we usually do. We usually do parodies or covers of songs, but it was a great challenge to come up with a tune, to come up with a vibe, for the music video to come up with the imagery that really spoke to what this Megillat Ha'atzmaut is really about.
How would you describe that vibe?
How would I describe the vibe? I think the key word that we've thrown around when we talk about it is aspirational. The document sort of sets the stage for what was happening in that moment for Israel. It was a very tenuous time. It was a difficult time, a hopeful time. There are amazing stories of how this document came together. It was really last minute. Like David Ben-Gurion, when he read the document, was like pretending to read it, but really he was reading from handwritten notes because it was that down to the wire. And they knew that when this went into effect, there would be countries all around that would be coming for Israel. And it was a scary time, but also this amazing, unbelievable moment in Jewish history that didn't happen so long ago, but was just huge. And so we tried to capture that hopefulness, the excitement of the moment, the grandness of the moment. I think Hanina can talk a little bit to some of the musical choices that we made there.
Sure. So what we wanted to do with this piece was to make it sound more like an anthem, but it's ironic because not too much like the Israeli national anthem, which happens to be one of the only anthems that are in a minor key and kind of slow and depressing, if you know what I mean.
We Jews have that problem, yeah.
That's true, yeah. So anyway, the Hatikva is more of a piece of yearning or longing, I feel, and we wanted something to be more hopeful, as Noe said. So the songwriter, Jacob, what he did was right off the bat, he wanted to put it in 4/4, which is more.
Explain what that is.
Sure. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's just a musical term that we use for the rhythm, and he also wanted to do a more lofty melody. So that's how he first started out. But throughout the piece, it kind of progresses. At the beginning, you heard that there were bells. It's dum dum while David Ben Gurion speaks, and then it progresses more and more until you get to the chorus, which is Lefichach Nitkanasnu Umachrizim Bazod, which is, and that's why we gathered, right? And hereby we declare that this is a Jewish home, Eretz Yisrael, Medinat Yisrael, and that's the real core of this piece. That everything is leading towards we are declaring that even though earlier on we were talking about the story that first we had pioneers and everyone came to Israel even though it was there were hard times, but now we are declaring this is our state, this is the Jewish state, and that's why there are high notes there, and the very end, which you're going to hear later, I assume, it's not very held back, but we go for it. And you'll hear that. You'll get it from the same place.
Amazon. Where else these days?
We'll have time for questions at the end, just so you know. But sock questions, welcome throughout this entire experience.
Feel free to interrupt on that.
Great. So what I'm hearing from you is that you were introduced to this document for the first time. You read it. You were moved enough by it to take this assignment on. Tell me a little bit about the experience of reading the document. What lines did you want to highlight? What ideas were you trying to emphasize when you created the lyrics of the song?
I actually printed a copy of the lyrics here because there are a lot of them. But I think one thing that stuck out to us really that's interesting in the actual text of the document, but really what it says also about Israel and about the nature of this beautiful and complicated state of Israel, is that there's real tension here, right? So in the words that we chose, and again, the words in this song are directly from the Israeli Declaration of Independence. So it says things right off the bat. The land of Israel was the birthplace of the Jewish people. Okay, it says in no uncertain terms that this is a Jewish state, that there's a Hebrew language, right? The establishment of a Jewish state in Israel. And so that's saying something, right? That's saying that this is a Jewish state. It's saying it in no uncertain terms. But at the same time, towards the end, we say that the state of Israel will be open for immigration. It will be based on freedom, justice, and peace. It will guarantee freedom of religion, conscience, language, and education, and culture for the benefit of all its inhabitants. So right there, some might be cynical and call that a contradiction in terms. How can you be a Jewish state and also be free and open? And that's a matter of debate up until this day. And the way that we choose to look at it, and the reason that we chose those words and those that tension to put in this song, is that it's a beautiful struggle. It's a beautiful struggle to say this is a Jewish state, a Jewish homeland. In the Declaration of Independence, it talks about the Holocaust. It talks about persecution through the millennia, and why the Jewish state is so important because of that, as a protection from those things. And that's tremendously important. And the Declaration says it's committed to democracy. So finding that balance between being a Jewish state and democracy is the great challenge of Medinat Yisrael, and it's one that we choose to embrace. And I think more and more, I'm going to tread carefully here, but more and more in today's day and age, people are moving to the extremes. It's either either or. And the way that we choose to look at it, maybe that's a result of our upbringing or our modern Orthodox background, is we want to take all that tension and complexity and say we're working through that. And one of the ways that we found to work through that together as a group was to put it into a song. And that's kind of what this song means to us.
You know, you mentioned that you all come from the modern Orthodox movement, and I'm just hoping that you could explain to those of us in the room that don't know a little bit about modern Orthodox Zionism. What does it look like today? What values did you guys grow up hearing about in terms of Israel? What kind of activism is espoused? What are you encouraged to do?
Well, I'll just give a quick primer on modern Orthodoxy. I mean, we don't have time to really dig into it, but basically, it's we're very committed to traditional Judaism, to Jewish law, in all of its precepts and multiple complexities. But we're also very committed to engagement with the outside world. Right? We don't look to sequester ourselves and to stick to ourselves, but we look to say, how can we be true to our tradition and to our heritage, and how does that look like when we're out in the world and sharing that message and cooperating with people of all backgrounds? That's very much what our group is about. What we do is we take popular songs that are popular on the radio, or the best of culture, secular culture, we embrace that, and we kind of do our twist by adding Jewish words. So our big Hanukkah song that has 14 million views on YouTube took an immensely popular tune on the radio, right? Dynamite by Tayo Cruz was a chart topper, and we added the Hanukkah twist to it. That's kind of emblematic a little bit of where we come from, kind of embracing that duality.
That's a great example.
Yeah, and so that's modern Orthodox Zionism. I mean, again, embracing this very tension of a Jewish state, but one that is open and democratic and engaging in that political process. There are Jews of the ultra-Orthodox persuasion that wouldn't engage with the Israeli government. They would view it as too secular, too removed. And for us, that's not the way that we choose to look at it or engage. And there are those on the other side who would say there's no place for religion or God in the context of a state, and that's not really where we come from either. We kind of try to embrace both of those things.
I see you wanting to jump in, and I'm just going to interrupt you for a second, because I think maybe a helpful way for us to get to know the sort of modern Orthodox understanding of Zionism is just to sort of do a survey of the room. So I'm going to throw you guys some low balls, and I'm going to have you raise your hands, okay? How many of you speak Hebrew?
Define speak Hebrew.
Can you go to Israel and get around a day by yourself? Great. How many of you have been to Israel in the last 2 years? How many of you have been to Israel in the last 6 months? How many of you made Aliyah? Considered making Aliyah? How many of you have siblings who made Aliyah? Siblings who considered making Aliyah? Great. How many of you grew up in Bnei Akiva? Great. What is the motto of Bnei Akiva?
Torah v'avodah.
Is there anything to do with Israel in that? Isn't there Eretz in there too, somewhere?
Torah Yisrael, Be'eretz Yisrael.
There it is. Say it loud and proud for everybody to hear.
Am Yisrael be'eretz Yisrael.
Am Yisrael, Be'eretz Yisrael.
Al pi Torah Yisrael.
Translate.
Could you please say it slowly and with translation?
Am Yisrael be'eretz Yisrael al pi Torah Yisrael, which means the nation of Israel in the land of Israel, living according to the Torah of Israel. So Bnei Akiva, I actually wasn't personally that involved in Bnei Akiva, but that is generally the worldview and approach, that there's value to all three. There's value to, being part of the Jewish nation, the Jewish people. There's value to our connection to the land of Israel, feeling that personal connection, maybe aspiring to live there. And al pi Torah Yisrael, our connection to our heritage, our connection to our religious tradition. That those three components are all kind of part of one unified approach to our Judaism, I would say.
A few more softballs, if that's okay with you.
Are we getting graded at the end of this?
Yeah, no, I'm very strict. So yeah. Okay, so how many of you took a course on Israeli history when you were in college? Is Israel part of YU's curriculum at all in any way? How?
I mean, there's a Jewish history requirement at Yeshiva University, and any survey of Jewish history will obviously include and go through the establishment of the state. Beyond that, I'm not sure if there are requirements.
Yeah, I mean, every YU student does have to complete through intermediate Hebrew too. So that's kind of a connection. I don't know if there's any specific, like Israel studies requirement. I don't think so in terms of coursework, but.
Right. Okay, just a few more, and then I'll pass the baton back to you. When you give tzedakah, do you give tzedakah to Israel-related causes? Raise your hand.
Included, yeah.
Yeah, included. Anyone else have a softball they want to ask while we're on this?
We've never gotten that question before.
We like to say we have 2 full-time jobs. Everybody has 2 full-time jobs here. We do this as much as we can outside of our other jobs, but we all have other full-time jobs as well.
Is it a regular question or a softball question? Hold your regular. You. No, we'll get there.
When you give tzedakah,
We can't raise our hand for an or question.
do you give to non-Jewish organizations as well?
Absolutely.
Okay, did you want to add something?
Yeah, I was just gonna kind of answer another aspect of the previous question you asked about, Zionism and modern Orthodoxy and the activism that's advocated. So, just speaking from my own personal experience, when I was in a modern Orthodox high school, we were always strongly encouraged to be advocates for Israel, to be educated about the facts on the ground, and in those days, there were lots of pro-Israel rallies at the UN. When I was in 9th grade, actually, there was this huge rally in Washington D.C., and our school took us to it, and it felt like everyone I ever knew was there. It was a really dramatic moment, seeing that many people coming out to show support. But and this might be repeating something we touched on earlier, but when we first read the Megillat Ha'atzmaut in the context of this project, I personally kind of realized that I had always been shown the video of David Ben-Gurion announcing the state, but I had never been shown the actual document. And one of the things I think most of us felt was that this is a document that's worthy of studying, of looking at, and it should be taught in Jewish schools. It should be something that we're made aware of. And one of the kind of humorous things that happened was when we were working through it, and we were trying to kind of figure out what some of the words meant. So we had the original alongside the official, translation from the government of the State of Israel. And there were a few words that we couldn't figure out. It said, Hifrichu Nishamot, which, to our ears, that sounds like it means they made souls blossom, the word Neshama, meaning soul. But the official translation said they made the desert bloom. And we racked our brains trying to figure out how that made any sense. And we searched and searched, and we found out that the word Nishamot, spelled a little differently, there's a dagesh somewhere, actually comes straight from Tanakh. And in that variation of the word, it actually means desolate places. So that was kind of one of the things that happened. And then when we released the video, we started getting these comments, we actually got comments on YouTube that said, you guys, you really should learn Hebrew because Yifrichu Neshamot means make souls bloom. And you wrote in your caption, made the desert bloom. So we had to put out some responses saying, first of all, we didn't write the translation. We're using the official translation from the Israeli government. But second of all, here's the pasuk, here's the verse in Tanakh, in the Jewish Bible, where the word neshamot is used in that sense. So we kind of, it was a learning experience for us as well, in some of those ways.
That's a great story. And you also set me up perfectly to make a shameless plug, which is that for the last 3 years, I was working for the secular yeshiva in Tel Aviv, and we have a curriculum called Talmud Yisraeli, the Israeli Talmud, and we use the Megillat Ha'atzmaut as a daf Talmud, and every line there's commentary, and it's really beautiful, and if anyone's interested, you can contact me. And but I'm so curious, so as you guys read the Megillah for the first time, and you were sort of moved by it, did it cohere with the vision of Israel that you had learned in sort of your modern Orthodox upbringing about education about Israel?
Yes.
Great, that's a great answer. Yeah.
Oh, you want me to elaborate on that?
You don't have to. That's a very good answer.
No, it certainly did. I think one of the things that we have said already, one of the feelings that we first had when we read it was that it's very aspirational. That it was, not only the culmination of, many years of Jewish yearning to return to our homeland. It's not only a categorical declaration of the establishment of a Jewish state, but it's also a statement of, a state that is going to ensure, freedom of religion, freedom of conscience, freedom of of language to all its inhabitants. And we felt it was a very lofty ideal, and kind of striving to achieve all of those goals is something that I think we've always seen the state of Israel as doing, and also constantly trying to improve upon. And I think that in our concept of Zionism, we think of it as an ongoing process of continually trying to do better and better at achieving that lofty ideal.
Okay. I think we've talked enough about it, so let's actually hear it. Would you mind performing live this song for us?
Sure.
Eretz Yisrael, Kam Ha'am HaYehudi. Hachalutzim, Ma'apilim, Meginim, Ifrichu Neshamot. Hefeyu Sfatam HaIvrit, Banu Kfarim ve'arim, Tehikimu Yeshu Kadesh. Alav kol koshi, Miya v'sakana, Hem lo pasku liboa et zechutam, B'chayei kavod, Chirut, Ba'ama yesharim, B'moledet בארץ ישראל היא מדינת ישראל. בארץ ישראל תהא פתוחה לעלייה. מושתתה על יסודות החירות, הצדק והשלום. תבטיח חופש דת מתון, לשון חינוך ותרבות, לטובת כל תושביה. מכריזים בזאת על
Hatikva every time I've heard it since I was 12, and now your song is added to the goosebump pile.
Replacing Hatikva. That's what I heard from you. I don't think we didn't say it. You did.
Tik male, יש לנו תיק מלא. Okay, we want to open up to questions. We'll take questions for about 15-ish minutes, and then we're going to let them do a sound check for the closing plenary. So, yeah, let's start over here.
I'm an attorney in Los Angeles, practicing employment law full time, and then every time I can, try to sing with these guys.
I'm a recent medical school graduate, currently in limbo while I apply to psychiatry residencies.
I work for a medical malpractice insurance company, and I'm waiting for this guy to get a job, so he needs some insurance.
I started a marketing and branding company. Yeah, that's what I do.
I'm a paralegal and a piano teacher.
I don't sleep. I songwriter, filmmaker, and dentist.
I work for a Jewish a cappella nonprofit, and I do other music stuff like teaching and such.
That's an official title. That's it.
And I'm also a member of the Maccabeats.
That's right. Newest member.
Yeah.
Your videos, some of the really polished videos, have amazing production values. So who created these? How did you work out the creative parts? Who produces them? Kind of the whole production end of it. It's just an incredible endeavor. How does that work?
Yeah, how does that work?
So our videographer is amazing. His name's Uri Westrich, and he was just a guy at YU in our community there at YU. He was actually a medical student himself, and we just scrounged together this video that went viral. It's actually funny that you mentioned production value, because certainly the production value has gone up since we were at Yeshiva University, but our thing has never been really production value. In fact, the video that went viral that has 14 million views on YouTube is pretty basic in terms of the editing and the style of it and the polishedness of it. But it was just I think a perfect storm, that video of now I don't know if you guys have seen, but there's all sorts of holiday songs and parodies, and we're kind of, I guess, the elder statesmen of that genre. We kind of started that, but back in the day, it was very novel, and it was something that could be shown on television, during the holiday season that really hadn't been done before. But it was basic, it was very inexpensive, but just we think the creativity of it and the positivity of it and the positive message of it was something that resonated. And certainly in today's day and age in the content world, it's not always about the most polished or the most produced, but it's really, content wins and creativity wins. And but certainly the production value has gone up. And Uri Westrich, much to his mother's chagrin, dropped out of medical school and now has a video production company.
She has not forgiven us yet.
I'm just curious from a modern Orthodox standpoint, because I've heard different perspectives on this, but do you guys have a stance on what we show?
We do. I do want to point out that while we're one group, we are all individuals, and each while we all say we are we all say we're modern Orthodox. People have their own level of what that means to them. So individually, I think we each have different opinions on that. As a group, we also take a specific stance, and he's going to tell you what that is.
No, we're an all-male a cappella group, and that's sort of what we've been and what we will continue to be. But personally, I don't have an issue listening to women sing and singing with women, but we try to appeal to, what would make everyone in the group comfortable individually when they have different opinions. So that's kind of where we land on it. Yeah.
You said there are 12 of you, okay? How long have you all been together? Or people, you take in new people and other people exit, or how does that work?
Yeah, that's a good question. Do you want to answer it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. We started with a group of, Josh, was it 7?
7
Yes.
in 2007 and 07.
Yeah, Josh and I were there the first year. And then the next couple of years, we added a few more members. We haven't really added too many the last couple of years.
Yeah.
No one really wants to leave.
Over the last 8 years or so, there's been a pretty low rate of turnover. A lot of the guys in the group today have been there since almost the beginning.
Yeah, the standard in we joined into this a cappella world. The standard in the a cappella world is that you're at university and there are a cappella groups at the university, and you join the group, and then when you graduate, you're done. For us, we started this group at YU. There hadn't been a group before. There was no legacy of a group before that. And then it very quickly became something. We went from being a student club to a group with over 40 million views on YouTube. It became a business. Maccabeats is an LLC. We have a whole apparatus around us. We have a booking manager. We have lawyers, accountants, administrative assistants. We're on the road constantly. It became something that was beautiful. We built this thing, so I think there's a lot of ownership that people feel over it and didn't want to let it go, and we felt that was our prerogative, so we did it.
I have a question. You guys will have jobs. Tomorrow's Monday, okay? I would gather you got a red eye. Don't remind me. You got to be able to get back to work all tomorrow, is that right?
Yeah. And then sleep during lunch.
They also all flew after Shabbos last night, right? So two
Yeah, we've
redheads in a row.
had over this Hanukkah holiday, we've had 10 shows in 8 days. So
we're going to be drinking a lot.
Don't tell my wife I'm on vacation. That's when I go home, I'm not telling her I was on vacation.
A lot of coffee tomorrow.
Yeah, it's an important thing to say. I think we do stretch ourselves very thin, and I'm not throwing a pity party for us, but it is difficult and trying, and the reason we do it is because we're really passionate about this. Not just the music, which is true. We love performing, love being on stage, but we also take very seriously the message that we send. Megillat Ha'atzmaut is a great example of that, but with other songs as well, and being proud of our Jewish heritage, we take that very, very, very seriously, and that's why we get on these crazy red eyes constantly and are wearing ourselves down. But we love it. At the same time, we love it, and maybe one day we'll hang up the pitch pipes, but for now, despite our jobs and our wives being upset at us, we're hitting the road still.
You're an LA guy? He's the easiest one.
Yeah, me too. I'll be in bed by 10 p.m. tonight, but the rest have a red eye to New York.
I'll be in line in security.
For me, I appreciate it so much. I love seeing you guys. I love it. Thank you. You make me happy.
I'm loving all the hands raised. We have only we're gonna only take. If your hand's raised right now, I'm gonna take your question, but then that's gonna be it. So let's 1, 2 in the back, 3, 4, and then done.
So my question is actually a little bit to what you were speaking to before, but you're all coming together. What is your goal? Besides creating music, what is it, your ultimate goal of when you come together?
Staying on key. That's it. No, I think it's, I don't think there's a goal other than representing who we are and what we think is important. I don't think there's once we reach this, then we've done it.
But it takes a lot of different forms, Our goal is, it takes a lot of different forms, If we make people happy with our music, if hearing our songs brightens someone's day, that's one of our goals. If someone learns about a Jewish holiday for the first time because of our videos, that's one of our goals. We have messages that we like to send, and with Megillat Ha'atzmaut, so we were trying to raise awareness for this document, create kind of a new piece that we've kind of been talking about. We have these ideas we like to spread. And one of the things we talk about when we do concerts is how, as a cappella singers, we are involved in vocal harmony, which is musically when many different parts come together, which by themselves would not necessarily sound that good or be that interesting, but when they come together, they make this beautiful, harmonious whole. And we kind of like to use that as a metaphor for our message of kind of music bringing people together, fostering common understanding, and we try to send that message in what we do.
To the back, whoever wants to go first.
So it seems like you were strangers when you were writing, and you seem like you're all friends now. Do you get?
Put on a good show.
Okay, you put on a good show. Do you get get together with your families when you're not singing and do things together? And how do you practice not living in the same place?
Good question.
So the guys who live in LA, you'll notice they don't know their music as well as the rest of us. We've noticed. No, we meet about once a month at this point, and the guys in LA try to do what they can. And when we go somewhere for a show, we spend time before the show really going over our stuff. But it has to be something that is important to each person here. You know, you have to stay on top of your and your responsibilities of knowing your music.
To answer the other part of your question, we do actually make an attempt once a year to all get together for Shabbat, spend one Shabbat together with all of our families. Usually not everyone is able to make it because we live on two coasts and we're all busy, but we've held that event. We call it the Maccabeats Shabbaton or the Maccaton, where we get together where we're not working and we're not singing.
There is no singing on that weekend.
Yeah. A lot of board games.
And just on the level of like friendship, I would say, you know, there are many different kinds of friendships. There are friendships of circumstance and friendship of shared interests. And I think, you know, the friendship that we have based on our shared experience, like we've been through so much together, highs, lows, amazing, you know, whirlwind journeys, 6 continents, 40 states. We've been to the White House together. Like, I think only the people up here and the B team in Baltimore today can understand and have that mutual understanding of what we've gone through together, and it's a very special relationship that we have. Yeah.
I've been so fortunate to have seen you perform several times, many times here at the OFJCC. But for me, one of the more moving ones was I was at the opening ceremonies for the Maccabi games in Orange County, and that was really, really, really moving for me, largely because I'd never been in a group of that many Jews, really, in any one place. If this question's for any one of you, what's been the most moving experience you've had as a Maccabeat? You've had so many great opportunities and experiences. What's moved you the most personally?
It's a lot to choose from.
I would say for me, one that really, really sticks out, and sorry if this gets a little sentimental, but like I remember when we were about to go on TV for the first time, and it was our Candlelight song had just come out, and it was just crazy. I mean, in a matter of days, millions of people, you know, were interacting with this song that we had no idea, and people were saying how proud they were and how excited they were, and we couldn't even catch our breath. There was just it was a blur. It was crazy, and we were about to go on TV. We had like 20 minutes to go, and we stopped and we prayed. Like we put on our talit and our tefillin, and we said the morning prayers together, and like, not to divulge too much behind the scenes info, but like people were like crying because like it was just crazy. Like, what's happening? A week ago, we were just hanging out in the back halls of Yeshiva University singing songs together, and now we're about to go on television for a national audience and spread this message. It almost felt surreal in a sense, and I think the overwhelming emotion was just gratitude for this opportunity. Like we don't know if we even deserve this opportunity, but we have it, and we're going to make the most of it. And I think, you know, maybe we've gotten used to it a little bit, but I think that sentiment has really carried through, you know, 8 years later, and that we're still, you know, doing this. So that sticks out for me.
No one else say anything. Yeah.
So I have to tell you that I spent last Shabbos Hanukkah with some of you in Highland Park, New Jersey, and it was a great, wonderful experience. Some of you stayed at my daughter's house with us, and it was really, this year they had a different group, and I couldn't be there because of family politics. I had to be elsewhere. So I decided, although I didn't sign up for this session, I decided I was coming anyway. The first time I heard you was at a Lion of Judah conference.
Yes,
a long time ago. Thank you.
So what'd they say about that other group, though?
Final comments.
You're good.
Final comment. Yeah.
A question, but I just wanted to thank you so much because my husband dropped out of college here and went to fight in 48. But he isn't here now, so I'm not with him. But he would be so proud and so happy. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all so much for being here and for being on this panel, and thanks everyone for coming. And you'll hear them again in the closing plenary. So.
Thank you so much.